Hello, lovely people. It is a beautiful day here at the meeting place of heaven and earth, Mount Shasta, and I'm so glad to be with you. I'd like to start off with a prayer. God and Goddess, thank you so much for this beautiful day and these lovely colors that are falling all around us, the trees and all the beauty. Thank you for all of the animals and nature and all the opportunities that you give us to exist and to help others and to share kindness and love into this world. Please help us to lead with love and kindness and be a good example so that we can lift this world into higher realms and states of heavenly bliss. In the name of Elohim, I pray. Amen. Today is Mind Day, and the prayer is, Our God and Goddess, immanent and transcendent, send to all your angel of peace. To all the helpful thoughts of my mind, send your angel of power. And there's a lot of great Essene music that's going to be coming out soon. That's what I automatically kind of jump to when I think of what I fill my mind with, the music and media. And I really love to just throw it on in the car when I'm driving and try to enjoy those heavenly vibrations. It really makes a big difference than when you're listening to the worldly music and this stuff that's literally designed to corrupt you and bring you down and lead us all into darkness. So, that being said, today I wanted to read from the Holy Megillah, the Nasarean Bible of the Essene Way, translated by Dave Greenleaf and available at essene.org. This is from chapter 29 of the Holy Godspell, and it's called the 49-Day Fast of Yahshua, with answers for the lions of his presence. And it includes the 3 Tempters of Lucifer. And that's going to be different, obviously, than the temptation that we hear about in the mainstream Holy Bible. And well, I'll just leave it up to you to judge the differences and see what you think for yourself. Yahshua sat atop a mount beneath a tall tree. He released himself in love and performed no mental calculations. No planning, not but deep submersion in love did he perform. Behold, the way of the Christ is love in action. But even the Christ will know the joy of Sabbath rest when timely. And that Sabbath rest is submersion in love for a time of non-activity. It matters not the length of time of Sabbath rest, but that it be timely. It matters not the day of week, but that it be timeless. It is not instead of a normal once a week Sabbath every 7th day. Neither is it the same as a once a week Sabbath day needing only to be timely. And timeliness is according to appropriateness. Behold, the non-activity of the rest is relative, not absolute. One may chop wood and build a fire, but should be by oneself, preferably in nature, in utter simplicity of activity. Work is kept to the bare essentials of bodily survival. The purpose of this rest is to permit the mind to detach its attention from even the things that naturally and rightfully occupy it on a typical day. This is the Sabbath rest that was enjoyed by Yahshua after his return from India. His activity in Sabbath rest was extremely minimal, even when compared to others who enter the rest. For lo, he built no fire and ate no food. Yea, at the end of his cycle in India, before stepping into his next cycle of activity in the world, the Lord entered a deep and prolonged Sabbath rest. Yahshua sat upon the mount in Sabbath rest, submerged in love for 49 days. He did not think about abstaining from food. Lo, he just simply sat in love and radiated joy and meditation, a meditation indeed. Though he did not set out to fast, he ate no food for 49 days and nights, drinking only water from a bubbling spring. On the morning of the 50th day of his Sabbath rest, behold, 3 lions of Zion approached. The eldest of the 3 said, "We are the lions of your presence. We are sent here by the Yaira, the holy rose of Sharon, to be in your presence as guardian lions. In that role, it is our duty to be watching the crowd and scouting the perimeter while you teach, not asking questions about spiritual matters. Wherefore, before we begin this ministry, we ask one thing of you. May we now ask one question each in regard to spiritual life. Yahshua, speaking for the first time in 49 days, replied, "It is good that you take your duty seriously with great dedication. I thank you, yea, and I thank the Rose of Sharon, the holy Yaira, the high priestess. Even so, I trust that, when appropriate, we will find times to talk. Nevertheless, I will happily answer the questions of this moment as you have asked." The youngest lion asked, "Why is the sexual urge so strong within me, though I have chosen celibacy?" Yeshua replied, "The universe is very sexual. For lo, sexual energy is the fire of creation. Were the universe not sexual, you would not exist. Give thanks for sexual energy. Even so, the sexual fire is fire, and fire can get out of control and burn a village. Wherefore, some choose to guard against misuse of sexual energy by embracing celibacy. For some, that path is appropriate. For most, it is not. Whether or not that path is appropriate for you, only you can decide. Let no one compel another to take the vow of celibacy. And know this, what might be right for you at one point in life may be wrong at another point. You are free to change your mind anytime. In general, I do not advise lifelong celibacy except for the handful called to it. For behold, look at nature. What creatures are naturally celibate for life? Lo, Isaiah spoke truly when he said that there is a proper time for all things under the sun. You may be wise in choosing celibacy now, while you are a youthful guardian lion on a mission. For lo, it would not be good to leave a child at home without a father for a long while. But you are nevertheless a man in the natural years of highest sexual energy. Vow of celibacy or not, the fire of life will not disappear. Pray for the power to manifest your choice. Forgive yourself if you stumble, and know that you are free to make a new choice at any time. But do not think that sexual energy is bad or that sexual intercourse is not blessed. Behold, the sexual fire is blessed by Yah and practiced by Jaja and Elohim. Jade and Jana are of the sexual fire of Jaja, and you are the fruit of our tree. Yea, the sexual fire is blessed. Water is also blessed, yet one should take care not to drown. The second of the three lions, a master of the martial arts without equal, asked Yeshua, "Why not more lions to guard you?" Yeshua replied, "I guard myself. You three can guard my body until the day I choose to give it up. When it is timely that I give up this incarnation, neither you nor anyone else can prevent it." The third lion, the eldest, asked, "What words do you choose to speak to me in this moment, my lord?" Yeshua said, "You are translucent. You are a white wizard in spirit and truth. Love is your pendant of power. Behold, a fancy carriage pulled by expensive horses stopped at the base of the Green Mount. In the carriage were 3 men, and behind the carriage rode 12 Roman soldiers on war horses. Seeing a bright glow about Yeshua and the 3 lions, one of the men in the carriage, a Greek scholar of the natural sciences, said to the other 2, "Perhaps it really is him, as our colleagues in India report." One of the 2 other men, a rich businessman from Rome, replied, "Our spies know that Jade entered this world in human flesh, but we know not his human identity or whereabouts." The third man, a dark-robed priest, said, "Our spies in India were quite certain, and seeing the natural glow about him, I suspect that they are correct. But in this world, his body is mortal. If we can't make a deal with him, he must die. For our orders are to prevent him from accomplishing whatever mission he may have chose or he may have come to perform. Best if we can corrupt him, but if not, we kill his body. The three men climbed up to the top of the green mount to meet Yahshua. Behold, where their feet trod, green grass turned yellow, and the living creatures of the mount began to flee. But Yahshua and the three lions of Zion did not flee. And when the three men, with their mounted soldiers following, reached Yahshua, the priest spoke first, saying, "We have been following the trail of a Nasarean from India to this spot. We have cause to believe that you are our man. This man we follow committed the crime of kidnapping. Yea, he and his accomplice, also a Nasarean, stole a woman from a funeral party and broke other laws. This man will likely be put to death. However, we also have reports from India that the followers of this man believe him to be Jade, come in the flesh of man. If this man is not Jade, we will take him to stand trial. But if he truly is Jade, we will offer him a deal. This deal would be very much to his personal advantage. For lo, with our help, he can overthrow the dominion of Jaja and reign supreme. We ask only that certain star systems be given to us to rule as we wish. But first, if we are not to take you to stand trial for kidnapping, you must prove that you are Jade. Wherefore, if you be him, perform a miracle as proof." Then the foul priest pointed to a nearby cliff and said, "Jump off that high cliff. Lo, that would kill a normal man, but if you are Jade, you can do it. Yea, do it, and we will make you an offer that only a fool would turn down." Yahshua replied, "If I am Jade, you are trying to tempt the Lord Christ. Do you really think that the Lord would deal with Satan's whelp?" The second of the foul men, the rich businessman, who was a dark wizard of the order of the parasites, added, "If you are Jade, come in flesh, you are subject to the same desires of the flesh as any man. Yea, you share the same hunger for food, women, and power that drives me. And the chief of those desires is power. Lo, Jade obviously loves power. Shit, nobody desires power more than Jaja and Elohim. Just look at how they lord it over everyone. They claim dominion over the entire goddamn Mother Obam. I say, good, because by this they show that they have right desire for power. Yea, it shows they are not so different than we Luciferians, and that there is hope for their eventual salvation in Satan. Understand Satanism. If some god can claim dominion over the whole damn universe, so can I, and I do, as does the rest of my clan, which you call parasites. But hell, I'm also a reasonable man. I band together with birds of my feather, not because I like them or agree on everything, but because together we make a formidable army. It's just like the powers that be that literally scheme against us. They band together with their birds of feather, not because they like or agree on everything, but they make a formidable army against us, right? And it is only with an army that real power can be taken. And that can only happen with cooperation, bargaining, and deal making. And so parasites have grown in wisdom. We understand how to cooperate and share the wealth of the kill. Together, we invade, infest, and devour planet after planet, or we can say world after world, whatever you would like. Jaja may control more territory, but we control the parts we most desire. And according to the prophecies of Lucifer, we will one day destroy the heavens, even those that we cannot enter. Lo, those heavens will cease to exist, for every exalted being will fall by power of our temptations. For lo, though we cannot enter the high heavens, the beings of the high heavens can enter our worlds. And even though they enter our worlds on missions of mercy, once here they are subject to our temptations. Not all that come find salvation in Satan, but some do. And we pray, yes, we affirm with the dark incantations that all cherubim will eventually fall. Every heaven will simply be gone, their populations fallen into Satan. If you are Jade, imagine what a prize your fall would be in the eyes of all parasites in the dark Lord we serve. But think not that I am stupid. I know that you, if you truly are Jade, cannot be easily enticed. I know that the price must be high to entice you. Even so, I know that while you are in flesh of man, you are vulnerable. Even you might now fall. But know this, when Jade falls, he will rise again in the power and glory of Satan, and the prize I offer will greatly tempt you, for I offer power more delicious than you now enjoy. But first, you must prove that you are Jade. Wherefore I say, if you are Jade, come in flesh of man, prove it by wizardry. For if you are Jade, you are the Lord Wizard, though of the wrong robe. Turn stones into bread and feed the poor. You supposedly have that power and give a shit about the poor. Feed them. Then the stupid people you obey will obey your every command. The stupid people will obey your every command. Then you can uphold your end of the bargain we will make. For lo, he who controls the food supply controls the people. And him I can bargain with to mutual advantage. After all, I am, in fact, a businessman, and a good businessman knows that a good deal is one that benefits both parties. Let's cut a deal. I say to you, let us have this planet. It is already mostly under our control anyway, and we will leave some other planet alone to satisfy your ethical concerns. Does not your Father in heaven most high empower you to cut deals? After all, you are supposedly his representative in the mother ovum. Lucifer is willing to bargain. Where is your spirit of compromise? Wait till you hear what is in for you personally. You will salivate like a parasite stalking a meal. But first, turn a stone into bread for me, a gift of food for your new best friend. By this act, you will declare your willingness to negotiate. Yahshua replied, your temptations are beneath me. Your reasoning is fundamentally flawed. Love is the all-attractive force and reigns supreme as the highest power without having to think about it. Love does not fall when one falls out of love. Rather, love is the heaven that you propose would cease to be. There you have the only bread I will give you, the bread of the truth of love. The third foul man, the natural scientist from Greece, said, eventually, people will take our mark. We will win this planet. We took your solar regions by surprise when we attacked so early. We caught them praying instead of preparing for war. We are too damn cutting for you pacifists. This world is almost beyond your reach even now. Soon it will be entirely out of your reach. You have lost worlds to us before, and you can read the signs. You are not a fool. Why not cut a deal? Things would be so much easier for all concerned if you would simply negotiate. It would save both sides countless resources. Lo, I study the natural world, the soil, the plants, the animals, but my scholarship is not benevolent. I study the natural world so I may better exploit and extract its natural resources. I freely admit the truth. Behold, a true parasite stands before you. If you are truly Jade, I can convince you through truthful negotiation that it is in your best interest to negotiate a settlement. I have no need to lie in the manner of my companions, the priest and the businessman. Truth is brutal and is on my side. the side of scholarship. Behold, scholars have not discovered any love that can be proven to exist, but we have discovered much knowledge that can be proven to exist and can be used to increase profit and power. I will not ask you to prove that you are Jade. I will show you the truth as only a scholar can. All you need to do is enter negotiations with an openness to compromise. Compromise is the key to cooperation. Yahshua replied, I see through the masks that the three of you wear. Then, behold, the three foul men became one three-headed beast, their mask having disappeared. On the forehead of one head is the name Dark Religion. On the forehead of the second head is the three-headed beast, is the name Dark Commerce. And on the third head is the name Dark Science. Behold, the beast moved to attack Yahshua, but the three lions of Zion intervened. It's kind of interesting too. Dark religion, dark commerce, and dark science. And then look at our world today, and there's the beast, right? The beast moved to attack Yahshua, but the three lions of Zion intervened. As the two youngest lions deflected the blows of the beast, the eldest lion chanted ancient words of the cherubim. Hearing the words, the beast lost its power and became again the three men. The men, before fleeing in their carriage, ordered their soldiers to attack the lions. As the carriage fled, the 12 Roman soldiers on war horses charged the Nasarean lions of Zion. Yahshua, in the lions of his presence, used Zion to defeat the 12 soldiers in hand-to-hand combat. Once disarmed by the Nasarean martial artists, the soldiers fled on their horses. Yahshua smiled at the three lions, saying, the rose of Sharon chose well her lions. Even so, on the day I choose to give up this body, none can intervene. I love too how they literally just came up to him, right? She sent them to him right before this happened, before it was needed. And so often in this amazing book, we see stories of people being in the right place at the right time, being sent to this place, and the right help being there, them being the help, all of these amazing things, because souls are listening to the call of God and Goddess within, and then aligning and actually doing those things. They're like, okay, I don't really know why I'm supposed to go up the top of this mountain, but I guess I'm going to do that. And then you end up there and you find out why you got called up there, right? So it's really cool to see stories about that or read stories about that and try to develop that inner voice, listening to it more keenly because of the fallen world that we are living in. It's so dense, and all of the different voices that we have allowed in from a very young age, whether that was, even our religious upbringing, the political and social beliefs, all of these different factors and different voices that are telling us who to be and how to act and all of that. It can be hard to cut through all of that. I definitely know that going vegan and returning to the fleshless diet helps to cut down those voices. And that's not to say that vegans are perfect by any means. There are lots of other ways that we can allow demonic influence into our lives and the ways that we can be corrupted, even if food isn't the way that that's going about, right? So that being said, food is like one of the biggest problems on our earth. People wake up, they want to eat their breakfast, their lunch, their dinner, and how many snacks in between. They're always focused on what they are putting into their bodies and not focus on how that is affecting them. Even doctors are given so little time learning about nutrition. And even if they were going to be learning about nutrition, they would be taught from, the standard American diet, that food pyramid that our government gave us so long ago that includes the flesh of innocent beings. Kind of interesting when people will say that veganism is like the new world order diet and the government, Bill Gates, these people want you to be vegan and all this stuff. But it's like, okay, well, first of all of those people were selling you your like Ben and Jerry's and your Pizza Hut and all of these non-vegan things. They have been selling you that from the beginning, and they told you to eat flesh to begin with. And like, why don't you take that into consideration? Why is it now all of a sudden, oh, the government is involved, so veganism is evil? Like, it doesn't actually make sense when you think about it, because they're the ones that told us to eat flesh to begin with. So again, it's them trying to control both sides of the story. And the veganism that they want for us is eating a bunch of processed chemical garbage that, while it helps people, you know, stop eating flesh, it's not harmless to our bodies. It's harmful for our bodies, and different, you know, different ways it goes in there and messes with not just our body, but our mind. How you can eat unclean foods and literally be foggy mentally, and that can change. So I know that the more I purify, and even the times that I've gone for like a month or so of only fruit or trying to fast a lot, I've seen amazing benefits for my body and my mental capacity and other things. Obviously, there's a time of very sluggishness because you're not eating as much and all of that, and your body kind of needs to adapt and go outside and touch the grass and get nutrients in different ways, get energy in different ways. But it's really amazing once you get past that and into just a different way of existing. I always regret going back to eating regular vegan food, but as I've said to you before, food is one of my big struggles. So I am a work in progress, and hope that you consider yourself one as well, and in that are trying to become a better person and find the reason that your soul came here. The past few days have been kind of stories about, you know, remembering why we came and being corrupted in this fallen world and different things along that nature. And it can be really easy to get distracted and pulled off course in every different way. You're trying to like focus on one thing, and then life happens, and survival mode, and all of these different factors, realistically, that are done on purpose so that we will be dragged away from that spiritual focus and getting ourselves to where we are going to feel good and bring some really awesome powers into this world. I'm so excited to see what kind of powers we develop, or not develop, but we remember, we reconnect with through purifying ourselves and returning to a natural Edenic state. So really excited about all of that. In the times of tribulation ahead, it's going to be a bumpy ride, but I am hopeful that things can change and that we can survive and change people's souls. So that being said, I will jump in the live chat really quick to see what is going on. Hello, everybody. David D says a 49-day fast. That's crazy. It definitely is. It's inspiring, though. And I would love to have some time just to be able to wander up on Mount Shasta and sit there and fast for 40 days. That'd be 49 days. That'd be cool. Hello, Dave. Dave says, whoa, the mountain looks amazing where you are. Mount Shasta behind me. I'm actually in Weed at this little a park. I don't really know what it's called. Hello, Shyla. How's it going? I joined the live. Now I have this question, if you don't mind answering. There is this truther influencer, I think from France or Belgium, called Dimitri Legrand, who exposes inverts. Their account is called reality.revolt, and they have a few videos exposing inverts, but some people say that Dimitri themselves is an invert. I don't know how true it is because I haven't found many pictures online of them topless to verify biomarkers. If possible, do you think it would be possible to introduce yourself to them and your work, and perhaps to ask them to show you their biomarkers? If it's not possible, you don't have to do it. I'm just asking a question out of curiosity. Interesting. Well, yeah, I definitely don't trust any of these big transvestigators that don't offer their biomarkers as, like, I guess, like what I did in my video. I'm like, this is what my hips look like in a bathing suit, and this is what their hips look like in a bathing suit. We have all these different features that we can literally show in comparison to show the differences. And I think that it's like, why wouldn't you use yourself? Either you're not confident about yourself, which is a lot of people in general, but most likely it's because they're inverts. And yeah, I will look into their profile and see what's going on. Hello, Bob. Bob says, greetings from Vancouver. On Thursday, I returned home from a 2 week tour of the USA, centered around a spiritual retreat in Sedona. Thanks again, Inanna, for the Holy Megillah, especially since I did not find the time to visit Florence. Oh, cool. I'm really excited for you to get to be able to read that. And yeah, I absolutely love this book and would love to have your feedback on it as well. Kyle says, now this is the spot to go live. What a view. Very clean, clear image too. Woohoo. Okay, cool. The only problem is this animal, barbecue behind me, but cool. Well, as long as it's a little bit warm. Yeah, I was trying to go into the coffee shop in town and the internet didn't work very well. It was like really glitchy and stuff. So here we are. Bob says, I'm guessing this view of Mount Shasta is somewhere in Weed. Yes, exactly. Hello, the first last. This is beautiful. Yeah. Hello, Stoic. You have there yourself the perfect spot ever for reading. Wow, the lighting is perfect too. Oh, yay. Cool. Okay, well, all these compliments. Thanks, everybody. Shalom, sweet sister. Hello, Soul Sand. I don't know if this is a little random to pop up with in this particular live setting, but any thoughts of the Freemasons? Any up-to-date thoughts about them? That is an interesting question. In general, I guess you probably say a lot of questions, but I haven't really had any updated thoughts about the Freemasons, but in reading some about the Holy Megillah and recently going on Mark Sargent's show, he sent me some of these tablets that they have that essentially some of the information in there corresponds to the Megillah. In one particular thing that's coming to mind is it's showing like a waiting room before you enter into this world on the tablets. And then in the Holy Megillah, it talks about how Miriam, Lady Christ, before she incarnated, she cleaned out the womb or the waiting room that happened before. And then there's life, and then there's a waiting room after, and Christ cleaned out the after. And so it's kind of cool that they were, doing their missions were so faceted, and it's just really, really cool to read about that. But anyways, it's cool to see how that corresponds to some of this stuff. I think that a lot of these groups, all the different groups, have so much different information that we can learn from that has been hidden from us. But the animal sacrifice cult has basically infiltrated and corrupted everything. So no matter what things were potentially once good at the beginning, almost always they get corrupted through the same mechanisms. And this order of the parasites that we just read about, and how they work together, and they will just bargain and weasel their way in and do whatever they can to essentially win worlds. I know this book says planet, but I am actually really hopeful someday that we can see the original Hebrew words for it. But this is currently being translated right now. And as I said before, the translator does not yet know about flat Earth. So thankfully, at least all of this stuff in the book is happening inside of the mother ovum, not throughout, infinite space and whatnot. So I definitely still consider it a flat Earth book. And if the opportunity arises for me to bring in the flat Earth aspect, especially before the final edition gets published, that'd be really, really cool. But I don't know. Anyways, Stoic says breaking bread. It makes me think if the Bible predicts or a 2,000-year plan. Yeah, I personally do believe that the mainstream Bible is their type of playbook. When it comes to prophecies, I think that the Holy Megillah is so much more clear about what is to come, and so much more on point. Those prophecies are actually why I even got brought into the realm of the Holy Megillah, and it's really changed my life. But talking about transhumanism and stuff like that, and I guess the King James Bible does talk, about, the mark of the beast, buy or sell, but people, that's not really like the most clear thing for, there's room for interpretation to some extent. And I've heard people falsely claim that it is a vaccine. A lot of people will agree that it is a computer chip though, or some sort of technology in that. And anyways, the Megillah is really clear about that, and also adds the hope that this is the path that we're currently headed down, but there is a blessed path and we can change course. And I love that. The angel that sits on your left and right in the center, which is the self, the Trinity. Okay. This is also talking about the self inside projected outside. And most of the world's problems is because of the self. The world outside can say so, but it's the world, the within, that has the way, so that can change the world. I think what you're trying to say is that we have to change inside first to be able to change the outside. And I definitely agree that it is the self, the inside stuff projected outside. And even when we interact with people, so often, like, I'll, if so, like, I don't know, if people are like, oh, this person said this or blah, 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 and they're having some conflict, and I'll be like, oh, well, I can see from, a different perspective. I'm like, okay, well, that person's clearly projecting when they say this to you and you're upset about it. I'm just like, but you can kind of see how this inner turmoil gets exploded everywhere. And then when we're not at peace inside, when we're depressed or angry or all of these inner feelings, they come into every interaction with us. And that's one thing that's cool about the daily peace meditations, is that we're trying to constantly come back and focus on peace in these various ways. And body and mind are the first 2 days. So yeah. Shayla says veganism isn't just food, though. It's a moral stance against unethical treatment. I agree. And that means no going to zoos, no wearing fur, leather, or wool, and no attending horse riding or bullfighting. I absolutely agree with that as well. So that is true. People still don't understand that, the difference between a plant-based diet and vegan. And then there's people that are like, oh, I went vegan and I almost died. It's like, okay, well, you were just eating a bunch of junk food and you almost died. And for me, like Shayla's saying, veganism is not about the food that you eat. It's about how we choose to interact with the animals and what is right or wrong in that arena of life. And when we were in this higher Edenic states, we were living in peace and harmony with the animals. And when we turned against them, that's when things started falling and getting more dense, and has led us to this hell realm that we're in now. Almost all of the problems that we have can pretty much be directly linked to how we treat the animals, whether it's like taxation. Okay, well, you go in and decide how much honey the bees can keep, how much milk the cows can make, if the birds can keep their eggs. You go into other beings and you tax them, so you can't complain. You restrict them, you do all of these things to them, you are deserving that karmically, and that's how they literally get us. So I agree. Great comment. I went vegan because of the documentary Dominion. Oh no, my phone just died. Okay, well, that is okay. I'm going to flip you around the other way and use this one. Cool. All right. Let me just see what's going on. Okay. Ah, oh no. Sometimes these controls on the phone can be really hard and like really tiny scroll part. Stoic said, would you take vegan food from an evil one? Well, one of the things about the Nazareans is eating food that is preferably prepared by Nazareans, and that will make sure that it is planted and harvested with love, and not, food grown by angry and oppressed people for the profit of the oppressors. But that being said, it's really hard to not find, or to find food that's not made by the evil ones, right? They're the ones that are filling the grocery stores and giving us all of these food options, right? So yeah, trying to find farmers markets and local people that that grow food is really important. I have not really had much success in that. A lot of the farmers market people around here are like growing greens, which is just like, I should probably learn how to incorporate them in my diet. I would prefer if there was like cucumbers and a bunch of fruit and different stuff like that. So maybe I need to go to a different town for their farmers market. But anyways, it's hard to avoid food that's grown by our enemies, because that's all there is. But it is not wise. And yeah, hopefully we can create a better world. I would really just love to have a space here, a community space, some land that we can grow food and have people live on, like a Nasarean kibbutza, where everyone is a lover of the Megillah and just wanting to live a better life and make a better world. Unfortunately, a lot of times, as I kind of spoke with Dave Greenleaf, the translator, about this, because he's been into this a lot longer than I have. And one of the things is that most people that are, that would be great assets to the community, have their own lives in different places, and they have their steady income, and they are not so ready to give up that stability to just go off and join a community or a living, group living situation type thing like that. The people that would show up right now are the ones that are homeless and that don't necessarily, have anything to, like, they're just not like in a space that's going to help build up the community. So I think one of those things is that the community will form itself when crap hits the fan. Unfortunately, some of these things are going to be born out of, we can't just keep going along with the sleepwalking anymore, because it's gotten too much of a nightmare and things are getting shaken up. It's that chaotic state, that chaos that they try to use to bring about their order. And a lot of people, are going to stay asleep until pretty late in the game, until it really affects them. So we'll see. Vegan is only good if you make it yourself. Can't expect corporations to provide vegan food. Rest assured, it's probably not actually vegan. That's a good point as well. How much of it's actually vegan and how much is, yeah, they can slap that label on anything and it wouldn't, yeah, we wouldn't know. Hello, Lucifer. Lucifer. What does your name say? I can't really say. Believe in Jesus. Rapture soon. Well, if we're talking about the Jesus of the mainstream Aaronite Bible, he says that the tares are gathered first. So the idea of the rapture, the pre-trib rapture, actually isn't based in a truthful foundation based on the Bible. And even if the tribulation, or even if the rapture was before the tribulation, this is one of the first things that I already decided when I started awakening and realizing that that was a deception, that I wouldn't want to be taken out of. I don't want to be taken out of the game when time gets hard. I grew up watching like the Left Behind movies where, everyone that knows the truth gets zapped out and all of these people are left trying to figure everything out and all this stuff. And I I want to be light in the darkness, and so I don't believe that it would be the most beneficial place for my soul to be taken out, and I would not be happy if that was the case, and thankfully, I don't believe that it is. So cool. I'm ready to go through the times that are ahead, and I know they're gonna be really hard, but I know that we can prepare and we can still have hope, and yeah, I'm excited. One of the things that even Lady Christ says is that the harvest doesn't come early. Like, the Lord and Lady Christ don't come early or do things in the premature way, because one of the things is that this is a cosmic school system and they want to see who is going to, for instance, take the mark of the beast, and who is going to, the thing that I love the most they say is, who's going to, perform great acts of love in the time of tribulation and all of this chaos and stuff. And so yeah, I'm really excited for that, in its own way. I don't want it to happen. I would actually prefer if everyone would just wake up and say, let's not go down that path. Let's read this and see the blessed path that is promised and go down that way where everyone is loving and kind and all of the forces are working in harmony with us and everything is just good. That's what I would like. But changing the flow of the river is not easy, and so many people already are rejecting these beautiful teachings and they're not ready for it, and so it's hard to get people ready for the truth, as we've talked before, especially when their spiritual programming, religious programming is so ingrained into these things and they think that they're right standing with God and eternal salvation depend on believing these certain things. Stoic says, nicely said. I've been sub to you before COVID. Super nice to see you haven't strayed away from your calling. Oh, thanks. You are inspiration. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yeah, there's been some hard times, right? It's hard when you're not aligned. And that's when I started my awakening process. I think that is when I was at a point where I'm just like, the way that I'm living this 9 to 5 lifestyle that everybody else is doing and all this is not for me. I need to figure out what my purpose is here. And so that's kind of what started my awakening process and started to get me to start aligning with my soul's calling and all of these different aspects that have come from it. It's kind of, yeah, funny to think about how much I have changed over the past decade and even just the past few months. And yeah, I just really, really am excited for the future and hope that we can all do some really great things together. I hope that you're feeling inspired, even though this stuff is dark around us. I know I keep banging on about this, but honestly, it has brought me so much inspiration and love and hope and joy. And that's why I speak it to you so that you can hopefully find that as well inside. I think that we're all looking for it and we're all wanting it. And some of the things in here, especially learning differently about God and how God is not this jealous, angry, wrathful being that's going to send you to hell for eternity over one lifetime of mistakes. When you think that that is God, there's a lot of different ways that you act. And even in our interactions with other people and how judgmental and condemning that we can be towards them and feel justified because it's like you're not believing the Bible and God, this is God's word, and if you don't believe it, get into hell, into the fryer for you. So yeah, anyways. Air Hard Nation Jack Cook. Hello, how's it going? Smart girl. Thank you. I appreciate that. Um, and yeah, so I've had some interesting stuff going on in my life recently that has made these teachings really prevalent and this reminding of why are we here and um just seeing our friends or family loved ones fall and get into dark pits and like addictions and just different struggles and different ways people struggle. It's hard to try to pull them out of that and deal with it and keep our own center amidst all of the stuff that is going on around us. But that's kind of part of these peace meditations and even practicing Zayen, the martial arts of the Nasareans, to find that peace and bring that peace inside first and foremost, and then share it to the outside world. Like we were saying before, it all is starting within that cauldron within, and then it comes out. So what we're baking inside that cauldron inside is really, really important. And today is mind day, so hopefully all of the thoughts in your mind are helpful, and when they are helpful, may the angel of power be sent to them to empower and uh, you know make them come true. I really love how in control we actually are. Sometimes we can get into these pits and not know how to get out, kind of like I was saying. But there's always a way, and it's frustrating knowing that the demons and these dark forces will make you feel like there is no way, make you present all sorts of situations and scenarios to try to keep you in those situations and scenarios. So yeah, I get it can be really hard, and I'm trying to myself find out how to help people that are in those situations and really inspire them to remember who they are and find the greatness that they were meant to be. We all came here for great things. There's different roles in this war for all of us, in this nonviolent war for all of us. And yeah, it's important to me to learn better how to uplift my brothers and sisters and help them along the path. So that's where I am today. Hello, Zbroxy. Zbroxy says we need to make sure to find joy in our days. I agree with that. Um, One of the other things about the Megillah is that Jaja loves to play, and that it's supposed to be learning and working, but play is important as well, and having fun. And that's probably one of the big reasons that the fun suckers, the parasites around here, try to make things as least fun as possible and just take the beauty out of things and really just make life really boring and uneventful. You just have to, and the events that do happen are usually bad. Once in a while there's a good one, like a wedding or a marriage, but it's just so interesting how they constantly try to keep us in this state of depression and suffering. And yeah, this is not the way that it's meant to be. And together we can change this reality into something truly beautiful. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to jump off of here and probably do some meditation. The sun is really, really nice and the grass is calling my name. So I will see you tomorrow at noon for the peace contemplation. And yeah, if you ever have anything that you would like me to speak on and or share with you, I would love to do that. And thank you again for being here. I hope that you have a wonderful day. May God and the Goddess empower you and